Hi, this is Trisha from Lemon Paper Lab. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate one of my pattern starter templates. This template will be available to download in my Patreon page. I also have this template and more in my Ultimate Pattern Maker Toolkit for Photoshop, which includes all of my Photoshop templates and actions to help improve your workflow when designing in Photoshop. And I will leave a link in the description below to both my Patreon page and this toolkit. The template I am demonstrating today is my template 3. The size that I have it set to is 7200 pixels by 10,800 pixels. It is designed in a larger scale, so you can use it for a number of projects. For this template, there are 2 artboards with 2 variations of this pattern. And what you'll notice here in the layers panel is we have our main smart object here, and then we just have our template folder, which contains the various repeats of this pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and double click into the smart object here. And then we just have our reference layer that we can turn off. And then there are 2 additional reference layers here. We have one that looks like a triangle, and then one that looks more like a bell-shaped curve. So let's go ahead and start drawing a design. For this, I am going to use my brush tool. If you right click, you can see the brush tool here. B is the keyboard shortcut for that. So I'm just going to start drawing here. Just going to use this basic shape. Just creating just kind of an organic shape here. Go to this side as well. Creating just design here, just kind of fitting it within our shape. And so we'll use this shape here and see how it looks. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off this reference layer here. I'm going to save it, Command or Control S to save it. And then we'll jump back into our original document here. We can see that we have our 2 repeats here. With this template, you will also be able to download an action that I've created. And this action is to find 2 patterns. So let's go ahead and play this action here. And then what you'll notice here in my patterns panel is that it automatically saves these 2 pattern variations. And so I'm going to open up a new document. I'm going to go File, New. For this, I'm going to use the dimensions of digital scrapbook paper, which is 3600 pixels by 3600 pixels. I'm going to turn artboards off and then just set my resolution to 300 pixels per inch here, and then just clicking Create. Included with my Patreon page or the Ultimate Pattern Making Toolkit is my Photoshop actions for pattern design. So I'm going to go ahead and use my action called Pattern Test, and that will just bring up a color fill layer, a pattern fill layer, and another color fill layer. So let's access that pattern fill layer. We'll click on our pattern. We do need to scale it down. So I'm going to double click here, and then I'm just going to bring my scale down to 10% here so we can see our pattern. So we have our first variation there, and then we have our second variation as well. Let's go ahead and change the colors here. So just double clicking on my color fill layer. This looks like a green pattern to me. So we'll start with maybe a darker color here. Double clicking on this one. I'm going to start from the green and then just work my way up to a lighter shade. See how that looks. Okay. So we can click on the variations and we can see that it has created a slightly different variation of the pattern. So as you're designing, depending on your shape, you can decide which variation looks better for your object. So we'll jump back into our object. Let's go ahead and turn that off. Let's turn on our reference layer. We'll create a new layer here. And then let's go ahead and just use this triangle shape. I'm going to click Shift just to create that line, shift click just to create that line there. And then let's do that again. And I'll just click, shift click to create that line. And then we'll do it again. Click, shift click, and then click there again. So we have another basic shape here, following kind of our outline of our triangle. So we'll go ahead and turn off that reference layer. I'm going to go ahead and save this, Command or Control S, and then we'll jump back into our template document. We can see our pattern here, and then we'll go ahead and save it again. So I'm going to hit that to find two patterns here. We'll move this one back over, and we have our two patterns, and then we'll go to our test document here, clicking on our shape, and then we can see the second variation there. So this is a fun pattern that you can just play with and create your own unique patterns with. If you'd like this template, definitely check out my Patreon page. It's also available along with other pattern templates and my full set of Photoshop actions and templates for Photoshop. And I will leave a link to this toolkit in the description below. Thank you for watching this video. This is Trisha from Lemon Paper Lab. See you next time.